what part of you made you say, okay, the doctor says a year before I can go run again? What part of you said, screw it, I'm gonna go do it 3 weeks after surgery?
Well, yeah, that's a good question because it was progressive. Like I didn't just wake up one day and say like, screw this, I'm going to go run today. Basically my physical therapy, he told me just to walk a mile a day. And where I grew up, where my parents were like, or where my parents are still, it's this small farming town, like hardly anybody out there. So I would just go walk on this road up to the cemetery where my parents lived and back. And that was exactly a mile.
Was this in Utah?
Yeah, northern Utah,
Okay.
basically Idaho. My parents are like a mile from the Idaho border.
Okay.
So yeah, I started doing that every day. And just like within that first week, like, so my first mile walk after breaking my back took me like an hour and a half. It was just like weird. Like my back felt weird and like my legs were kind of cramped up and stuff. So it was very slow. And so like that first week, I just kept setting these goals to like get faster at that mile walk. So at the end of that first week, I shaved it down from like an hour and a half to like 45 minutes or 40 minutes or something.
Jeez.
Middle of the second week, I got it down to about 20 minutes. And then I ended up ditching the walker and just started doing it with like a cane. And so for that second week, I started using the cane, but I also started increasing my mileage. So I did 2 miles one day, then 3 miles one day. And by the end of that second week, I was walking 6 miles. And again, mind you, like I didn't have school. My friends were in school. I didn't have a job, so I had nothing to do. So I had all the time in the world to just go walk if I wanted to.
What did the doctor say when, did you just show up one day and be like, yeah, I've been walking miles and miles, even though, I couldn't even walk a mile?
I've never told him.
I'd be curious what his reaction would be.
I know he's still a surgeon here. Like I still live where it happened. So like every podcast I do where people ask me about my back, like I always say I need to go talk to him and tell him how good of a job he did, but then I just forget about it.
That's incredible.
So
go ahead.
I was basically, 6 miles walking with a cane, without a cane, like I ditched the cane. And then I was just like, you know what, I'm going to try running, see what happens. So I went out and ran half a mile and like, it didn't hurt any worse. It felt weird. Like it probably took me like 10 to 20 minutes to do that half mile because I was going super slow and conservative, but I mean, it didn't hurt. So I just started running more and more and ran every day after that. And 3 weeks after that is when I did that 10K.
Was that 10K? Is that your first official race you ever did?
Yep.
Wow, dude, I didn't know any of that. Okay.
Sorry, I did do a half marathon before that.
Okay, man, how did the 10K go? Was it? I'm sure that was very emotional to like probably go from less than a month later. You think, wow, I might not ever be able to walk again, or it's going to take me a year before I can run again, and now you're running a 6.2 mile race.
Yeah, it was emotional. Like, I mean, everybody was telling me not to do it, especially my parents, like rightfully so. But I mean, honestly, the hardest part was I had that stupid brace on. And like, if you want to try running a 10K, but like having your chest constricted to like, I could hardly breathe just because there was no give in that thing. So, I mean, honestly, the hardest part was just like trying to breathe. But I remember I did it in 48 minutes, which is nothing to write home about. But 6 weeks after breaking my back, I think it was like an 8:30 pace.
That's respectable, man. Very respectable.
Yeah, I was happy with it. But yeah, it was totally an emotional moment. And like, I remember the shirt I was wearing. I remember the shorts I was wearing. I remember so much about that day. It was a pretty happy day for me.
Have you always had that mindset of, I don't even know what you would want to call that particular mindset of like saying no to the doctors, no to your friends and your family, all telling you, no, you don't need to run, you shouldn't run, but you're just going to do it anyways. Have you always had that mindset, or did that spark from that event?
It sparked from that. So when I was in high school, I didn't mention this, but I did do track and football. I did football because like I wanted to be cool. Like, growing up overweight, I didn't have a lot of friends. And so like, I lost the weight and like I wanted to make friends. And logically in my naive high school mind, the best way to do that was to join the football team. And then a requirement for football was track. But like, I remember like, I avoided all the big kids at practice at football. I faked so many injuries to get out of football practice. Like, I just wanted the status symbol of being on the football team. I didn't care to actually push myself. So somewhere between like my high school 18-year-old self to, when I turned 21 or 22, whenever it was, I broke my back, something switched in my head. I don't know why, but something did.
Man, so after that first 10K, what'd you do after that? Did you just kind of continually progress through races from there?
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, when people ask what got me into ultra running, I say it's from breaking my back because, at that point, I finally ditched the brace. My friends called it my Ninja Turtle shell. So I ditched the shell. All my friends were in college. All my friends had jobs. I had no job. I had no classes. And so literally, so I moved back to my dorm from my parents' house shortly after that 10K. And just because all my friends were busy from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. or whatever, I would sleep in till noon or something every day. And then I'd wake up and I'd go run 10 to 20 miles every day. And then after that, I'd go to the gym and lift weights for 2 hours. That's probably the most in shape I've ever been in was during that time. But yeah, just simply because I had nothing else to do, I just started running a lot. Through that, I ended up getting a new job where I met a ultra runner, and he was the first ultra runner I've ever met. I didn't even know what ultra running was at the time. And so when he found out I was running 10 to 20 miles a day just for fun, he told me about ultra running. He told me about a local race that he encouraged me to sign up for, which I did. So I basically just did one 10K, one half marathon, and then I jumped right into ultras. I still technically haven't even done a marathon.
Just skipped right by it. I love it. Yeah. So it sounds like you were just, I guess, for lack of a better term, just kind of lost for a little bit. Did you feel like you didn't have a purpose, or you're just kind of searching for meaning or purpose? Because I feel like, when something very significant and traumatic happens like that for a lot of people, and all your friends are doing this other thing, and you're just kind of hanging out, you're just sort of lost, I guess. Is that a good description?
Yeah. I mean, so every night, I'd go to bed at 2 p.m. And I just remember it's kind of pathetic. Oh, I don't want to say it's pathetic in case people are going through something similar, but I would just lay in my bed for 3 to 4 hours at night till 3 or 4 in the morning and just listen to sad music. Even though I healed remarkably fast, even though I wasn't paralyzed, just the fact that I was not in college, not a part of the festivities or whatever term you want to use, I was a little bit lost, you could say. So yeah, I'd say though running was definitely the highlight for that time period. It was literally the only thing I was looking forward to each day.